Linux test.
Hello and welcome. For this tutorial, I will show you how to set up Linux Mint on VMware Workstation Player in Windows 10. You can install any version of Linux you want here, but I will focus on Linux Mint for this one. In this video, I'll cover downloading files, installing the VMware Workstation Standard application, installing Linux Mint, and then installing the VMware tools after that, as well as a few post-installation tasks. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you want to do is open up a browser, and we're going to go to vmware.com. On the left hand side, click on the download link, and then click on the VMware workstation. Scroll down, and we're going to install the Windows version, and just save that in a location that you can remember. Next thing we're going to do is download Linux Mint. Go to linuxmint.com. Click on the download link at the top. Scroll down a little bit, and we're going to use the Cinnamon 32-bit version. 32-bit will be a little bit faster and sufficient. If you have a torrent client, you can choose the torrent link, or just choose a mirror that's closest to you. When you're ready, save the file to a location you can remember. Now find the VMware installer that you saved earlier. Double click on it to start the installation. Click the next button. Accept the terms. Click next. You can do the enhanced keyboard driver, but you will have to reboot. I'm doing it in this video, but you don't have to do it here. You can check for product updates, improve. These are choices. If you want to choose them, you can. Hit next. Choose where you want to, if you want to have shortcuts, next. And now install the app. This will take just a second, and then reboot if you chose to do the keyboard drivers. If not, we'll go on to the next step. Here you just need to put in an email address. It doesn't need to be a valid email address, just anything. And then hit continue. And finish. In the next box, it's going to ask you if you want to get more information on the professional version. Just skip it. So now create a new virtual machine. We're going to install from disk file, the disk image. So browse to the Linux Mint image that you downloaded earlier. Click open. It says it cannot detect the operating system, but that's fine. It tries to guess what you're installing for system resources. Ubuntu is what Linux Mint was built off of, so you can use Ubuntu. Change the name if you want. I chose Linux Mint. And this is where the actual file is going to go. So choose a place that you have lots of storage, and click OK. Click next when you're ready. So the maximum disk size will be fine at 20 gigs. You can go even a little bit smaller if you want, or larger, but 20 gigs should be enough. As far as the virtual disk as a single file as opposed to multiple files, a single file will be slightly faster. Multiple files will be easier to move around. So if you want to take these files for backup reasons or put them on other media, they'll be easier to move if they're split up. So these are choices that you can make. I would just do 20 gigs and store it as a single file for this purpose. And click next when you're ready. So now we just have to do a couple little customizations to the computer before we go forward. First is the RAM. Starts off with 1 gig. I would raise it, 4 gigs is fine. but at least 2 gigs would be good, depending on the resources that you have. Next is processors. Default is 1. Go ahead and change that to 2. It'll make things a little speedier. The rest we'll leave at default. That's your CD-ROM. It's actually attached to the image that we're going to install. Network adapter, USB, sound card, printer, and display, all of which should be fine, except possibly the printer with just the defaults. And when you're done, click Finish. In the next box, you're going to see over on the left side, you'll see that the computer you just made, Linux Mint. Click Play Virtual Machine on the right to start it up. So this is basically pushing the button on a computer, starting it up. And it's booting off the Linux Mint image that you chose earlier. So this process may take a minute or two. Now you can see that we're in a Linux Mint desktop. Double click the Install Linux Mint icon on the desktop there. Choose your language and hit Continue. You can choose to install these now or not. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So you have a full install. Click Continue. Now you can just do erase disk and install Linux Mint. You don't have to worry about dual booting or partitioning anything. Just hit Install now. Click Continue. Now you can choose your location on this cool little map here. And when you're ready, click Continue. And your keyboard layout, English is fine for me. If you need to change it, and then click Continue. Here you can put your name. It doesn't have to be your real name, obviously. You can change the computer name, choose your username, and then give it a password. Since this is just a VM on your computer, you don't need to really have a password. You can log in automatically. It's really up to you. And when you're ready, click Continue. Okay, sit back and relax. The cool thing about installing Linux is you could actually fire up Firefox and cruise the internet while it's installing. I'm not going to do that here, but you'll notice down at the bottom this Install Tools, VMware Tools pops up. Just leave that alone. We're going to install that after the installation of Linux is finished. So now when after everything's said and done, click Restart Now. Hit Enter to continue. And let Linux boot up. So basically, you've installed Linux and you have it running right there in Windows, so you can use it as if you have another computer. So now go ahead and log in with the password that you set up earlier, or if you didn't and you chose login automatically, it's probably logging you in now. And there you go. Linux Mint is now installed. So the next step is installing the VMware tools. Click on the Install Tools button. And what it's going to do is mount the CD, the tool CD. Right-click on the VMware Tools 10.0 and choose Extract to. And we're going to extract to the Home folder. Click Extract. Now you're going to go to the home folder, VMware Tools Distribution, and you can see that the files were extracted here. Now open up a terminal and you're going to type cd VMware. You can hit tab and it should auto-populate there. Hit enter and now you're in the VMware Tools Distribution folder. ls is to list the files in the folder. Type /VMware install.pl and hit enter. Oops. Need to do this as an administrator. So to do that, you type sudo. Type exclamation mark twice, and that's basically going to redo your last command with the administrative sudo command. Type in the password. So now you're just going to hit enter for every question it asks. You're just going to do the default. Just hit enter no matter what it asks. And then when you're all done, type exit to exit out of the terminal. And that's it. You now have installed the VMware tools. Now just a couple more things you should do after you install any distribution of Linux to update. So open up a terminal, type sudo apt-get update, then type your password. This may or may not do much, but the next command, sudo space apt-get space up dist dash upgrade, and then hit enter. That's going to do a full upgrade of your distribution, and that may take a while. Hit Y to continue, and that's it. Once this is done, you're ready to play around with your new version of Linux right there in Windows. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.